It was interesting because at the exact same time, I was working with Simon Phillips, so I was in California. Simon, who was actually overseeing this project and producing the DarWin project, asked me if I wanted to be involved in it. Then when he brought about the notion that it was basically a concept album, that was kind of intriguing to me because I've never really worked on one of those. I never worked on an album where, each song collectively had a sort of meaning that was bigger than, the individual tracks. I just thought that would be interesting, and I thought it would be cool. And when I heard some of the stuff when Simon played it for me, I thought, wow, okay, this is interesting. It's got some stuff that's like real heavy and dark, and then these really pretty, almost Beatle-like harmonies that happen. So I don't know, there's the meeting of these different musical worlds, which I thought was cool. Or when I started tracking my solos, DarWin was on the phone sort of with us, and we'd just sort of have a brief discussion about what he was looking for and what the approach is and what the meaning of the song was, and just get me in the flow of it. And then in this modern age of recording, it was nice because I would record something and then like immediately we'd send it to him. He would say either yay or nay, or that's close, or can we change this part, or can we modify this a little bit, or can we do the same type of thing but maybe a slightly different version of that. He has a very specific vision, and he would describe the mood that he's looking for. He would describe the vibe that he was intending, and I would try to get as close to that as I could. He's the guitar player on the project, the main guy. He's the songwriter and the composer, and he had all the rhythms and all the sort of meat and potatoes parts of the songs for guitar was already done. So my only participation really was in the form of solos. And I sometimes work better when I'm directed because, look, it's like an open canvas, right? I can hear a solo section on a song and think about, and play something on it one day, and then the very next day have a completely different approach, where it's a completely different mood, a different thing entirely. So left to my own devices, I can sometimes spend hours being in this state of indecision. So it's nice sometimes when you have someone that's saying, I need this, I want this, and they sort of give you the parameters and they give you the boundaries. As far as gear, I pretty much have my deal with Kiesel, so I had a couple of Kiesel guitars with me, but my signature guitars are essentially 24, offset double cutaway, 24 fret, cool guitars that kind of resemble Stratocasters, but usually I have a humbucker. So that was my main guitar, I don't remember which one it was at the time, but they're all pretty much that. And then of course, I went back and forth between my GH Little 250, which is a great, believe it or not, solid state amp that was developed with D.D. Mark. I helped develop it with D.D. Mark. And it's, you would not think for a second that this is a solid state amp because it doesn't act, it doesn't behave or sound anything like solid state. I've played solid state amps where they sound good, they sound like, like amp modeling, where it's like, okay, that sounds a lot like that Fender or that Marshall, but it doesn't feel like that when your fingers are, mixing in with, when you're actually playing the amp, you can tell like this is not a tube amp. One of the amps I do like to record with a lot is my Cornford MK50 because it has a particular type of noise that it makes all the time. It's an unpleasant noise, but it's worth it because it does get some nice tones. And then of course I had my big pedal board. I don't think I had it at that time. So the two amps that I mentioned, the main amps that I used, which was the GH Little 250 and the Cornford MK50, either of them require any kind of overdrive pedal or any overdrive, in front of the amps. So I prefer that. I like that when I don't have to do that. I like feeling the output stage of an amplifier.